Catch you later.
Catch you later. Bye. So welcome to everybody that's coming in this morning. I'm just writing something in the chat. I'm going to put my email address in and also some details about a workshop I'm running tomorrow. And then we'll get started. Oh, good morning from Italy. Oh, wow. Okay. We've got a lady from Italy this morning. I wish I could, buona mattina. Yeah, I think that's right. My Spanish is better than my Italian, although I have 2 Italian friends, so I have no excuses for not being able to speak better Italian. So I'm just putting something in the chat about a workshop I'm running tomorrow, and obviously, and also my my email address is in there in case anybody wants to get in touch. And then as soon as we've got a few more people in, we'll begin. So for those of you already in, there will be information in the chat. Who've we got in today? So a few regulars, a couple of newbies maybe. So my name's Karen. I'm at Fit to Relax London, based in East London near City Airport, for those of you that aren't local. And I'm working with Active New. We've got the lovely Lisa with us again this morning. So if you're new and you have any medical conditions or any injuries that I need to be aware of, please put them in the chat, and either myself or Lisa can check on those at any point. And just be aware that obviously if you have an pre-existing medical condition, to work within your own limits and your own comfort zone. And if anything doesn't feel right at any point, if you have any sudden pain or any pins and needles in particular, then please come out of the movement and put a comment in the chat, or wait until we come to the next exercise. So we've got quite a few, I think, coming in today, so we'll give it another minute or so. I'll have a little quick look in the chat. It's nice to share online, isn't it? Like with people from around the country. I'm doing my Zoom sessions now. It's quite funny. I'm doing Zoom sessions, and yesterday I think I had I had a few local people that I know, and then I also had a friend that is in Milton Keynes, just outside Milton Keynes, and had one of her friends that's actually in, I think, Hemel Hempstead or somewhere like that. And then I have another lady that's up north. So it's nice to be able to connect with people from all across the country now for classes via Zoom, because I've taught all around the country. I'm originally from Birmingham, then Nottingham, then Basingstoke. So I have class members that I keep in touch with that obviously when I moved weren't able to attend my classes, and they're attending the classes via Zoom. So it's lovely to have reconnected with some of my former participants that are actually now friends. But anyway, welcome to everybody else that's coming in. So we're going to concentrate a little bit today on core. So quite a little bit of work on abs and core today, side waist. But we'll start standing up. If anybody is participating seated today or wants to participate seated or doesn't want to come down onto the mat, then put a little note in the chat that you're going to be doing the session either standing or seated, and I will give you some alternatives. But we will do the majority of it as well today down on the mat, as well as some standing core work. So really good for balance as well as core. But thinking about throughout class, if you want that core workout today, thinking about throughout class about engaging through the core, so that you're actually activating your core during the whole of the class rather than just during the what we would traditionally count as core exercises. So let's come up to stand when you're ready. I have put as well in the chat a comment about, I put my website, I put my email address if you want to get in touch after the class about anything in particular. And also tomorrow morning at quarter to 11 till 12 o'clock, I'm running a workshop on feet, fascia and feet, which is going to concentrate quite a lot on postural alignment, and also on the role of the feet in helping to strengthen the pelvic floor, which is quite important. So coming up to start with them, onto your mat, make sure you've got a little bit of space. We're not going to do too much movement, but just make sure you have got space, and then just draw the toes up off the ground. We're going to cover a lot of this tomorrow, but draw the toes off the ground and then place them back down. So feet hip width apart, maybe a little wider if you have any particular balance issues or you're feeling just a little unsteady on the feet. But taking the feet and then just noticing as you move, just where the focus on the feet is first of all, where your balance is. Just notice whether your knees are rolling inwards or outwards, and whether you can feel both feet evenly on the floor, and just come gently side to side, backwards and forwards, just shifting the balance. And then finding a position where you're equal on both feet and you can feel the weight on your toes and on your heels just a little. So just making sure you're really steady. So for anybody else joining us who's joined us since we got up and started, my name's Karen, we're at Fit to Relax. And if you have any medical conditions, please put them into the chat so I can see. Good. So finding the edges of the feet, little toe, big toe and heel. Draw your energy up your legs. Keep your knees just a little soft, so not pushing back with the knees, just a little soft. And then zip up as if you're pulling a zip up into your belly button, holding it as tightly as you can, and then just letting it go about halfway. And then thinking about just squeezing your bottom. So you're just turning your bottom. So you're just taking your bottom, just gently tilting it under, but not forcing it, but just squeezing that bottom so that pelvis just drops. You feel this core strength here. And then think about pulling your belly button towards your spine, just a little. Good. Take a deep breath in. So as you breathe in, think about breathing wide into the ribs. Let the rib cages move outwards, and then as you breathe out, pull it in and upwards with the pelvic floor, belly towards the spine. Good. So breathe in again. Focusing on those feet. Breathe out. Pulling in. So one more. Breathing in. And breathing out. Good. Keeping that connection with the breath and with the belly. Let's start to breathe in and lift the shoulders. So as we breathe in, we're going to just lift the shoulders up. And breathe out and release. Good. Really think nice deep breath. Breathing in for at least a count of 4, but not holding or forcing the breath as you breathe in or out. Good. 2 more. Breathe out. Good. 1 more. And release. Good. Circling the shoulders backwards. Oh, I have to have some more of my honey this morning, I think, before I go out. My voice is a little bit, my throat's a little hoarse. Lots of talking yesterday. Good. 1 more. Circle it backwards. Now hold those shoulders down the spine. Feel the chest opening up, squeezing still and feeling that posture in the lower body. Just drop the chin down to the chest, breathing out and then lifting up. and then turn it to the right hand side. Just turn the head to the right side, bring it back to the center. Drop it down to the chest, breathing out, coming back up. Opposite side. Just notice how the shoulders and the neck feel at the beginning of class. We'll come back to this at the end of class, see if there's any tightness, see whether it has released a little. Circle the shoulders forwards this time. So circling forwards. And then we're going to circle forwards and come into just a gentle roll. So just gently roll forwards, just a gentle roll, maybe just to the knees. Keep that pelvis released. And then roll all the way back up. And circle the shoulders backwards. So we're going to do that 3 times. So circle shoulders forwards, drop the chin in, bring the hands down the thighs. Make sure the weight is still forwards on the toes a little bit, not pushing back on the heels. Roll all the way back up. Circle shoulders backwards. Good. One more. So if you're doing this first thing in the morning, you might find that there's a little bit of tension in the upper body, in the neck. So even if you would normally come down all the way down to the toes, or you can forward fold if you're a yoga participant, think in the morning that you're trying to release that spine vertebrae by vertebrae. Come back up, circle the shoulders backwards. So you may not get down as far or as easily. It might be a little bit of tightness there. Mine have a little bit of tightness there this morning, so I know not to push it. Good. Hand on belly, hand on bottom. We're going to move the hips. So just think about this squeeze and this pelvic floor control. So pulling up with the pelvic floor, squeezing down with the bottom, and the hips will just move a little. It's not a big movement. So squeezing up and squeezing under, and then releasing. So you're just squeezing down. You can put the hands on the front of the hips if you want to, so that you can just feel the hip bones moving a little. I quite like putting it on my bottom so I can just feel that movement in the base of my spine, as well as in my front of my hips. Good. One more. Then to move the hips the other way, this time we're going to come up onto the toes. So just come up onto the toes on the right foot, and then think about lifting your right hip up a little. So this is a hip hitch, I can't even say it this morning, and come back down. And opposite foot, so lift up onto the left toe and then hitch the hip up. So just repeat this movement. We're going to do 4 on each side. So come up onto the toe, hitch the hip, and then opposite side, so hitching up. You might find you have more movement in one side, or that when you lift one hip, you feel a little bit of tightness in the opposite hip. So again, just be aware of how the hips feel at the beginning of the class. Good, last one. Good, and then just come up onto the toes. So just lift up onto the toes, just lift gently onto the toes, and then release down onto the toes, just testing that balance. So again, lifting up onto the toes and down, and then one more, lifting up and down. Good, take the arms to the sides of the body and come down to the side. So squeeze the shoulders back, so working the side waist and a bit more mobility in the back now again, so sideways. So come down with one arm to one side, so just reaching down to the side of the thigh and then come all the way back up. We'll do alternates today. Squeeze the bottom back, so coming down to the side, breathing out, coming all the way back. So remember to pull up with that pelvic floor, releasing down, coming back, squeezing back. 2 more each side. Come to the side, coming up. Just noticing again how each side feels. So I also do a pelvic floor course. So if anybody does have any pelvic floor issues, or just wants to improve their pelvic floor before they have any, then again, do get in touch. It's a 5-week course, and it really is seeing amazing results. And I've got a couple of my regulars on the call this morning that have done the pelvic floor course. Good. So coming back up, so take a circle again, rolling down, just a gentle roll down, breathing out. When we come back up, we're going to come into a squat. So take the shoulders up, roll them back, and then sit back onto the heels, take the arms out in front and come into a gentle squat. So not really a fitness squat. We're coming in more into a Pilates squat, pelvic floor squat, coming all the way back up. So gentle roll forwards with the shoulder, rolling down. Bring the weight forwards again. You can come a little lower if you're feeling the back is releasing now. Come all the way back up. Circle shoulders backwards, come into that squat, bottom down. Good, coming all the way back up. One more. So when you come into this roll, make sure you're rolling through the back and not just hinging from the hips. So really feel like each vertebrae is rolling down, that spine is rolling. And then rolling back up, that spine is rolling. So you're not just moving from the hips. Good, take that squat, weight back into the heels. Good, coming all the way back up. Good, so we're going to come to a knee lift. So to start with, if you know you've got a few balance issues or you just want to test the balance, if you have a wall or a chair, you can just hold on to the side. Otherwise, we're going to lift either just the foot or the knee. So entirely up to you. Let's start with the right foot. So we're either just going to lift the foot off the floor or you're going to bring the knee all the way up so it's level with the hip, up to you. And then just slowly release it back down. So it's a slow lift, a slow release, testing the balance, pulling in with the pelvic floor. So pull in pelvic floor, lift that leg up. So feel this leg being lifted up by the core. And then feel the leg lowering under control. Good, we're going to do 3 on each side. So lifting up. So again, this is a really easy one to help to strengthen pelvic floor and core if you don't want to come down onto the ground. So lifting up, lowering down. Good, one more. Lifting up, releasing down. Good, last one. Lifting up and releasing down. Good, bring the right foot forwards. Right foot forwards, left foot back. We're going to come into an active calf stretch. So again, this one is good for strengthening through the pelvic floor, but we're also going to stretch through the calf. So 1 foot forwards, 1 foot back. Make sure your heel is aligned behind your toes on your back foot. And then we're just going to draw up, lift up through the pelvic floor, come up onto the back toes, lift the heel and stretch the arms above the head. So coming all the way down, feeling the heel on the ground. So lifting up, drawing up, lowering back down. Good. So we're going to do 5 on each side. So lift up and then release back down. Feel the length coming through the whole body. Crown of the head drawing up to the ceiling. So improving our posture. Good. When you've done the last one, come back to both feet together. Bring the both feet together and change sides. So making sure again, heel is behind your toes, nice wide hip width stance. So you feel balanced and then just lifting up onto that back toe, pulling up pelvic floor, releasing back down. So lifting up, releasing down. Good. Make sure that front leg is bent as you come back down, heel down to the ground. Good, 2 more. Might feel a nice little stretch through that calf. So again, if you're walking anywhere and the legs are feeling a little tight, knees are feeling a little tight, take a nice calf stretch. Come back to the center and just walk through the toes. So just a gentle walk, bending one leg, bending the other leg. Good, so we're going to come down into either a plank pose or a 4-point kneeling pose. So your choice. Again, if you don't want to come down onto the mat, you can stay with this knee lift. You can just bring opposite hand to knee and stay with the knee lift standing. So that's your alternative if you don't want to come down onto the mat. Otherwise, we're going to roll down. So rolling down. Come down to that 4-point kneeling or that plank, your choice. So walk the hands out. Make sure you're coming out with the thumbs. Find your nice plank pose or your 4-point kneeling. If you need to watch. So first of all, we're just going to draw the right knee into the right elbow. So it's going to come into right elbow, head can drop if you need, and take it all the way back out. Opposite side. So left leg comes into left elbow, all the way back out. If you're on the knees, same movement. Make sure hands are over, shoulders are over hands, knees are under hips. So right knee to right elbow, head drops, take it back out. Left knee into left elbow, take it back out. Good. 4 on each side, and then have a rest back onto the ankles. So 4 on each side. Breathing in to bring the knee in, breathing out to take it back out again. So 4 on each side, then have a rest down onto the ankles. Take the arms, stretch them out in front. Take a little stretch. Head down to the ground if you can. If you've got any high or low blood pressure, bring the hands on, or you don't like the head on the ground, make fists with the hands. Place the head on top of the hands and just take a few breaths here. Knees nice and wide. Allow the belly to release. So this is one of your resting positions for the next 5 minutes if you need a rest. So you can come down to child's pose. Come back onto the hands and knees. Second resting position, not quite a resting position, but you can come into cat-cow. So bring the knees again underneath the hips, shoulders over hands. I'm going to round through the spine. So think about moving from the base of the spine first. So you're drawing the belly in, rounding through the back, and then dropping the head or controlling the head, coming to look through to the knees last. And then as you breathe in, releasing through the body first, releasing through the base of the spine, letting the back begin to arch, and then lifting the head up last. So I really want you to work from the base of the spine today. I'm going to come side on and show you. So from side on, think about moving from the spine. So you're drawing in this belly, rounding through the belly, rounding through the shoulders, head drops last. And then keeping the head where it is, start to release through the base of the spine. So the head just moves naturally as the rest of the body wants it to. It's not the part that's making the movement. So start with the base of the spine rather than with the head. Just do one more. So remember, this is one of your resting positions when we come to the next movement. So if you find the next one a little bit too strong, come back to this nice back release. Good. So the next one, we've just done the knee to hands. This time we're going to bring it opposite side. So either in your plank or 4-point kneeling. This time, right knee comes to left elbow. Take it back out to that bent knee or that plank. So left knee into right elbow. If you're doing it in plank, keep the arms still. We're not bringing the arms forward, the shoulders forwards and backwards. We're just bringing the knee in. Take it back out. Keep everything else still. Drawing in. Coming back. 4 on each side. So when you need to rest, remember, come back down to here. Give that hands a little rest. Down into your child's pose. Or release if you need to into cat-cow. So your choice. We're doing 4 on each side. When you've done your 4 on each side, again, come back down into that resting position. Just release everything out. And then bring your bottom back round onto the floor. Come round with your bottom onto the floor. So we're going to do a seated knee drop today. Seated knee drop and leg sweep. You can come down onto the back and do it lying down on the back if you prefer, or if you have any issues with the coccyx. So if it's not comfortable sitting on the bottom, you can come back down lying onto the back. But let me show you this one seated today to begin with. So seated, hands just gently at the side of the body. If you want, again, if the wrists don't like it, come down to the lying position. So if you're seated, we're going to draw up pelvic floor again. We're just going to drop this knee out to the side, bring it out to the side, bring it back to the center. So you can have those knees a little wider if you want to. Make sure you've got room for the belly. And then just take that knee out to the side and bring it back. So I'll come down to the lying position just to show you. Hands, palms up, lying down. find that gentle tilt with the pelvis so that the back is in neutral place. Just take that knee out to the side, breathe out, coming back to the center. So we'll do 6 on each side. You're really focusing on keeping the one leg and the hip still while you're opening up the other. So you're opening up into this hip and groin, but you want this other one to be stable. So 6 on each side. And then when you've done your 6 on each side, if you're lying down, you can take a knee hug. If you're sitting, take the legs a little bit wider and just release forwards over the body. So just releasing forwards, just have a little release. Good. So this one's more for hip stability, hip mobility. So again, we're going to do this one, the slide. We're going to do it either seated or lying down again. So we're going to start seated. We're just going to slide the one leg out along the mat and then slide it all the way back in. And then opposite side. And come back in. Good. So sliding out all the way out. And then sliding back in. So you're sliding from the heel. So push the heel away. Keep the opposite leg really still. And then sliding back in. So again, you can do this one lying down. Keep the hips nice and still. Just tilt the pelvis up. Feel that connection with the pelvic floor. So as you breathe out, connect, pulling up with the pelvic floor. Pulling in with the belly button. Breathing out. And then coming all the way back in. Really slowly again. So take a whole 4 count of breath to come out. So breathing out slowly. Breathing in. Good. So make sure you've done 6 on each side. And then again, you can either take a hug the knee into the chest. Or if you're seated, just releasing down over the body again. Good. When you've done the last one, we are going to come down to the ground this time. But if you're seated and you want to just watch this one first, just watch and then join in when you're ready. So we're going to come to the toe tap. I'm going to come side on so you can see my feet, I think. So you won't see my head, but you will see my feet. So we're going to come down to the ground, and we're going to begin with, we're going to find this neutral spine. So imagine that you have a triangle on your pelvic area, on just below your belly button, and you want to make sure that that triangle is flat. You don't want it tilting upwards, and you don't want it tilting downwards. So think about engaging pelvic floor so that the back is not flat on the ground, but as you start to move, it's not arching any further. So drawing in, finding that nice strong brace, and then lift one knee so that the knee and the toe are level and the knees over the hip. All we're going to do then is we're going to do 6 of these on each side. So from here, take a breath in, and when you're ready to breathe out, we're just going to tap the toe down to the ground. So just the toe taps down, and then we're going to breathe in and lift back up, just so that the knee's over the hip, not into the chest. Else you get a little bit of a rest, and we're not resting today, we're just working this core. So breathing in, breathing out to lower, breathing in to lift. So breathe out to lower, breathe in to lift. Now, even if you've done this one before, I want you to try it with one leg, because I want you to really engage the core as you lower and lift. Sometimes if we go into a more advanced option to begin with, we don't notice and we don't focus quite so well. So make sure that the knee comes up, find that connection. It also means that if you have got a little back niggle or anything, you're just more aware of it to start with. And you can just adjust what you're doing more closely. So breathing out, so lowering down, tapping down with one foot, and then lifting back up. So this is your easy option. If you're already starting to feel that core working, that's good. Then if you want a little bit more, we're going to lift both feet off the ground. So make sure again they're at hip height. And then we're going to alternate. Make sure this back doesn't start to arch. You haven't got that curve in the pelvic floor, in the hips. So keeping nice and strong, arms to the side. Tap down with one foot and then lift back up and then alternate. So both knees are off the floor, both feet are off the floor. Then you're just tapping one foot down and then the opposite. So make sure it's just the toes coming down to the floor, not the whole foot, so you're having a relax. Just the toe, and then that's keeping that engagement through the pelvic floor and through the core. You let the foot go down, you're more likely to just relax and let everything have a rest. So keep going with that movement. When you need a rest, draw the knees into the chest and just have a little rock side to side on the spine. Good. When you've done the last one, just again, bring the knees into the chest, take a gentle hug, and then release the feet back down to the ground. So the next one we're going to do to begin with, we're going to focus on the shoulders. So, and then we're going to add the core back in. So for this one, I want you to bring both hands towards the ceiling, palms facing inwards, and you can still have your feet on the floor in the crook knee position to begin with. So all we're going to do with this one is we're going to reach the hands towards the ceiling. Keep the head on the ground to begin with. So it's like it's a shoulder shrug. So you're going to reach up with the arms so the shoulders come higher. And then you're going to think about pulling the shoulder blades back down to the ground. So you really want to connect the back of the shoulders with the floor. So breathe in, lift up. Breathe out, release back down. So breathing in, lift up, breathe out, release. Now throughout this, keep this core strong. Pull the belly button in. So breathing out, pull the belly in. Good, one more. Good, now we're going to try that while we've got the feet off the ground. So we're going to bring the feet back into that crook knee position, knees over the hips, feet off, arms to the ceiling. Keep that connection with the core. So it's going to be harder this time to keep connected while those hands are off the ground. So reaching up just with the shoulders and then releasing back down. And then if you want to, if you're feeling strong in the core and this move's feeling okay and the neck is okay, you can start to lift the head, reach up with the arms, but make sure when you come back down, you connect with the shoulders again. So reaching up and then coming back down with the head, connecting with the shoulders. So if the neck doesn't like it, come back with the head on the ground and just reach with the arms, keeping those knees over the hips, not into the belly. When you've done 6 or you've had enough of that one for your back and your belly, bring the knees into the chest and again just gently circle one way and gently circle the opposite way. Cool, time's flying today. We are having a good one today. Good. So bring the feet back down to the ground. And this time we're going to come to our gentle curl up. So we're working quite strongly with the core today. So bring the hands onto the thighs, just onto the thighs. Draw the belly in. Keep the feet flat on the ground. And as you breathe out, just sweep the hands further up towards the knees. So breathing out, you're going to round up, lift the chin a little, just squeeze up with the hands up to the knees and then release all the way back down. So just squeezing up, drawing in. So breathe, deep breath in into the ribs, breathing in. As you breathe out, engage that belly, pull the belly button towards the spine. Breathing out, lifting up, coming all the way back in. So it's a nice, slow, steady movement. Remember, we're on Pilates. We're not on legs, bums and tums. So although we're getting, you should get the same kind of workout, but you're doing everything more slowly, more precisely, engaging where you need to, getting the head into the right position. So 2 more if you can, and then again, draw the knees into the chest, take a little rock, and release out. Good. And then gently again, either roll backwards and forwards, come up to seated, or roll to one side and come up to seated. Good. So hopefully we're feeling a little bit stronger around the front of the body now, into our core, into our abdominals. So now we're going to come down onto the side, and we're going to work a couple of side movements, one for hips, and we're still going to be working on the core, so mainly for hips, but working on the core. And then we're going to roll back onto the back and do the bridge in between. I'm going to show you side on again, so that you can just see from both sides. So we're going to come onto our side with our feet level with our bottom, head down on the ground, or propped up with the elbow, your choice, but knees together, hips together, feet in line with bottom. Hand can come in front just to support, and you're just going to open up through the hips. So keep the big toe together and squeeze up through those hips. So I'll come show you this way on. So you can bring the hand down underneath the head. Just keep nice and strong. Hand in front if you want. Big toes together. And you're just going to open up through this hip. So squeezing this hip, drawing the belly in. Try not to roll backwards or forwards as you open. So opening out with that hip. We're going to do 6. So 6 openers. And then we're going to take that leg out long. Point the toes down to the ground and lift through the heel. So again, we're just squeezing through this hip, toes down, heel lifts. So toe down, heel lifts. We'll do 6. So 6, keeping that core strong again. Draw that belly button in and think about drawing up through the pelvis. So top leg is long, bottom leg stays bent for stability. And then when you've done 6, bring both knees back together, come back to that hip opener. So this one's clam. So you're bringing the knees, big toes together, and then just opening up through that hip. So just opening up through the knees. So I'm going to do 2 sets of each. So squeezing up through that hip. So you're also still working this core, drawing in as you open the legs. When you've done 6, take the leg out long again, heel up, toes down, lift up through the legs. So straight leg out, top leg straight, keeping that hip in line, not allowing that hip to drop backwards or forwards, just lifting up. Good. Maybe feel it working in this outer hip into the bottom. And then roll onto the bottom, roll onto the back, sorry. Bring the bottom to the ground, arms by the side of the body, and we're going to come up into our bridge. So make sure the feet are close to the bottom but hip width apart, and that when you come up, the knees feel good. No, not too much pulling in the knees. So press down into those feet. As you start to breathe out, start to tilt the pelvis first, pulling in with that pelvic floor, and then squeezing the bottom up, opening up through the front of the thighs, feeling the weight coming up onto the shoulders if you can, and then releasing slowly back down. Remembering we're peeling up in a similar way that we did our roll down. So feeling each vertebrae coming up and each vertebrae coming down. So really slowly. So we're going to do 4. So breathing out, press down into the toes. Make sure the toes stay connected with the ground. Peeling all the way up. And then peeling all the way down again. So 2 more. So find that little scoop through the pelvis to begin with, and then start to keep pushing up. So feeling this stretch through the thighs, feeling the weight coming up onto the shoulders. You want to be aiming for a nice long straight line from your nose to your knees. So not the same as a yoga bridge where we're trying to push up through the back. We want to engage the core on this one, squeeze bottom, pull in belly, nice long straight shape, and then releasing slowly. So upper back comes down first. Keep this pelvic floor squeezing upwards, and then the pelvis just settles down at the last minute. Good. Do one more, really slowly. Really focused on that opening up. And then roll onto the other side for clout. So rolling onto the other side, bend the knees, make sure the feet are in line with the bottom. And then just keeping the big toes together, just opening up through that knee. So notice if there's a difference on each side. Notice if it's easier. Notice if there's more tension. Notice if one side feels stronger than the other. And breathing out. So 6 openers through the clam. And then take the leg out long, toes down, heel up. Keep that leg in line and just lifting up and lowering down. So lift and lower. So 6 nice strong leg lifts. And then bring that leg back into the clam. So again, just clam, so opening up through the hips. So pulling that belly button in, squeezing that bottom as the leg opens. Opening up. And then that second lot of leg lifts, straight leg out in front, come out straight. So hip toe down, heel lifts, keep that bottom leg bent and relaxed. And then come over onto your back again for the bridges. So this time with the bridge, if you want a little bit more work, we're going to take the knee and lift it into the chest. So normal bridge, you can come up into your bridge, just take a normal bridge. If you want a little bit more work, you're going to take the hands underneath, interlace the fingers, make a fist with the hands, pull the shoulders a little bit further under, keep squeezing up with that bottom. And then when you're ready to breathe in, draw the knee in, one knee into the chest, breathe in. You can take the leg to the ceiling if you're feeling really strong. But don't let the hips drop. So hold a knee into the chest and then lower down. When you lower down, make sure that bottom doesn't drop. Keep the bottom up. If your bottom is dropping, just hold the bridge here and concentrate on strengthening through the back and the bottom. So draw the knee in. So there is no point drawing that knee in if that bottom relaxes down, because then you're not working this back. You're just trying to lift the leg. So really squeeze up, keep squeezing up through the back, and then release back down. So have a go, maybe just 2 on each side, and then release all the way back down through the spine. Take a knee hug. And then bring the feet back down to the ground, bring the arms out to horizontal. Let's take a spinal twist. So feet and knees together, arms out to the horizontal. If you're struggling for room, bend at the elbows, but make sure the elbows and the hands are a little bit lower than the shoulders. You don't want them too high up, you want the shoulders relaxed. When you're ready to breathe out, make sure you've got a little tilt in that pelvis so you're in neutral spine. Bring the legs over to the one side. So drop both knees towards the ground. They don't have to touch the ground. You're just feeling that release through the back. And then bring the feet back to the center. Gently over to the opposite side. So breathing out, draw them over to one side. And then when you're ready to breathe in, bring them back to the center. Good, 2 more on each side. Make sure you're not arching up through the back. So make sure this pelvis is engaged so that when you bring the knees over, you're getting a nice twist and shoulders are relaxed. Shoulders aren't coming up off the ground. So keeping that engagement through the core and not lifting the shoulder. It's not about how far the knees go. It's about that stretching the lower back. When you've done the last one, come back to the center. Come into a resting position. So either take the feet out wide and knock the knees together. Tilt the pelvis up, place the hands on the belly, or come out long onto your mat into Shavasana if you want to. If you are a yoga practitioner and you know Shavasana, you can come out long, but wherever is comfortable and relaxing for you. And then just take a few breaths, breathing in and breathing out, just noticing now how the body feels. So slow breath in, breathing in through the nose. And breathing out through the nose or out through the mouth. And then when you're ready, slowly draw your knees into the chest or take a full body stretch if you want to. Come back over to one side. And come back up to a seated position. You can come back up to standing and sit on a chair if you want to, or come back up to standing if you don't want to come down into cross-leg pose. We're just going to finish off and look at those shoulders and that head again to see how much more we may have released. So when you're coming up to standing or to seated, just circle the shoulders backwards. And then hold them backwards, draw the belly in, take a chin drop. So drop the chin down to the chest, come back to the center, gently turning it to one side, breathing out. Come back to the center, drop the chin down, breathe out. So if you had any neck and shoulder tension to begin with, we may not have released that much today because we've been focusing on core, not on shoulders today, but you should still have got a little bit of a release from doing just the shoulder movements to begin with, and the cat-cow and the spinal twist, which can help release lower back as well as upper back. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit more released, but stronger through core as well, through our abdominals and our back. Bring the hands into the heart space. Take a deep breath in, reach above the head, take a breath, and let the arms come slowly back down to the ground. And again, bring the hands into the heart space in front of the chest. Take a breath in, reach the arms above the head, and then let them go back out to the side of the body. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed the session today. If you have any questions about any of the movements that we did today, or if you want to check anything about any of the movements, if anything didn't feel quite right, or you want to know another movement that you can do to up the level or to change the focus, then please put it in the chat. We've got about 5 minutes to go through. And as I say, if you are really interested in your posture or have any issues with pelvic floor, maybe get in touch, have a look at the workshop tomorrow. And otherwise, I will see you next week. I think we've got a couple more weeks to go of these sessions. So thank you very much.